So we are about 10 lines from the top on page Chov Dalet. The line begins with the word Hazulas. And we are pointing out that the Indian from Tzelem, which alludes to a Tzura Atzmis, beyond what we discussed before, the Eshes HaChiko versus Eshes HaKsiva, where there is nothing and no add-on in it. The Eshes is true right out from the Etzem. Therefore, there is an Etzem element involved in producing these Eshes. There is a principle in this which is way beyond that, much deeper, much truer. That is when the Tzelem and the Tzura is representative of the Etzem. So he gave a Gashmizik emotion for this, such as a statue type of formulation of the form, in contrast to a paper rendition, to a picture. Then we go further and say that the goof itself is also called a Tzelem, because the goof is so formed to perfectly approximate, represent what a human being is. And then we went into the Nimsha, the Dugma. What is the Indian from Tzelem L'mayla? This Tzelem L'mayla is referred to the Torah. Why Torah? Because Torah comes from Chacham. And this brought us into focusing in, understanding what in fact is the principle of Chacham. And it pointed out that there is a fundamental difference of Moichin versus Midos. That Moichin, this is the very essence of the person. Midos, on the other hand, this is what's called the Gilui Ha'ora Levad, only a revelation of the Ha'ora rather than the essence itself. And this is why Moichin al-Atzma, Moichin is something which is for personal use, for personal awareness, to know what a human being is. That's a Moichin. Even though Moichin, as we discussed yesterday, one extensively, that Moichin is also a hamshocha from the nefesh, and that's what's called Moichin. Moyach. Moyach is the brain, which means it's a receiving. It receives from the nefesh. The brain is not the nefesh. The brain is only sensitive and a receptacle, but it receives in a moichin manner. What is a moichin manner? That it receives the very essence. So it senses what nefesh Adam stands for. This is a moichin, and this is why it's atzma. This is what a person senses to himself. Midas, on the other hand, this is also Midas Ha'adam. And as he pointed out last night, that Midas are to be found amongst the animals as well. Every animal has a certain Midah that it is rooted in and that it represents. But as we understood many times, that the Midas of Adam, the Midas in a human being and the Midas in an animal is lahavdol. They are two different worlds. In an animal, the Midah is exclusively the natural inclination of this animal. It's not even an inclination. This is its nature. This is like instinctive. It does not recognize that its Midah is chesed or its Midah is good. It acts in a certain way because that's the way it acts. Like we said, And a horse walks because it has feet, not because it makes a decision that walking is a significant thing. In contrast to the human being, where his midos also have a reality element. They have the reason he relates to his midos is because these midos are representative of what a human being is. It's a gili ha'ora, but it is only ha'ora, and the midas level it is only the functional element of what a human being is. This is how a human being is supposed to act. This is not what the human being is, and this is the difference between moichin and midas. Midas is el hazulas. Midas are principally geared and focused on the zulas, on that which is outside of the person, how he relates to something outside. Moichin is that which identifies himself to himself.
Is it fair to say that what we spoke yesterday about the perception that the moya gives the person about the reality of his being is indeed what we call surah atmis? Yesterday we discussed the perception that the Chokhmah has of the reality of the neshama. Is that that's the definition of surah atmis in the case of Odom?
I'm not getting the question. We explained. What is a human being? Explained many times that the principle of a human being is that, as we said, it's a neshama in the goof. It's not a living body. It's a neshama in the goof. That means that principally the human being is the neshama. But the neshama functions in the body. But actually he is just floating. He's just above the Gashmius. Gashmius is not the reality of the human being. The neshama is the reality. This is reflected in moichin. Therefore, moichin represents the etzem of the person.
So, in other words, is it fair to say that the moichin is a surah atzmis of the person?
Yeah, that's what it says. Moichin is surah atzmis.
Right, I just wanted to...
Yeah, that's exactly it.
So the this that it says that the midas are gilui ha'ara, and therefore the inyan of midas is for the zulas.
Right.
You may have covered this, but I don't catch what is the connection between those two things? Because it's a ha'ara levad, therefore it's shaykh to the zulas.
Ha'ara means that it does not have a personal presence. Its presence is due to its functionality, to what it can affect. It's the ha'ara, reflection. The reflection is how a person affects outside of itself. It's with the ha'ara. The ha'ara of the sun is the fact that the sun makes it possible for you to see objects. That's not the etzem HaShemesh. It's with the ha'ara. It's a likeness. Functional likeness. It's not the reality itself. Right?
Yeah.
But do you think, like pointing out a certain deal that he uses mochin instead of chokhmah or seichel? You made a point about that. I wasn't exactly sure the point you're making. That it says mochin instead of chokhmah or instead of seichel here.
Right.
Are you making a specific point about that?
Right.
He uses that
Yeah. Right. Explain. Moichin. The word moichin refers to moyach. Moyach is the brain. It's not chokhmah. why all of a sudden we talk about Moichin, talk about Chochmah? And the reason, the point is that Moichin is only a recipient of the Chochmah. That's why it's called a Tzelem. Tzelem means it's a form. It's the form of the human being. But what kind of form is it? An essential form. It's a form that reflects what the human being is in essence. It's not just a functional form. Moichin defines how a human being is supposed to be, how a human being views himself. That's Moichin. That's what it's called. That's what it is. That's a moyach. In other words, it is not the etzem hanefesh. It is only a hamshocha from the nefesh. The slapshus of the nefesh in the group. But the slapshus of the nefesh in the group is in the moyach is in such a way that the moyach is totally sensitive to the essence of nefesh, and therefore it becomes like nefesh.
Saying that the chokhmah itself wouldn't be a tzelem, it would be the nefesh itself. It's
Yeah,
it's not a. It's
that's
not
right.
a
Chokhmah,
tzelem.
this is koyach hanefesh itself.
It's a functioning seichel within a group.
Let's understand. Yeah, let's think. Midas is difficult because it's a little bit elusive. The koyach hahalicha in the foot, the feet are able to walk, and there's a koyach hanefesh that's mislabish in the feet. That's called koyach halicha. When is this koyach halicha evident in the feet? When he walks. It is not evident in the feet when he is not walking. In other words, to himself, when he's total to himself, it has no presence. It has a presence because of its constant availability, so to speak. This is what the healthy human being is, that he's able to walk. But when is this become germane, so to speak, or living? When he's walking. Moichin is all the time. This is what a human being is. He lives at this level of moichin.
He lives at this level of moichin, not at this level of chokhmah.
Yes, at the level of chokhmah, but not chokhmah per se. The way it is mislabish in the moyach, because chokhmah chokhmah has no shaykhs to gashmis. Moichin is how a person senses his relationship to gashmis from a chokhmah perspective.
Okay. Masha, in Ken, when we spoke about midas, we didn't say lev, we said midas. That's because it's a given that it's in the guf, or for some other reason. By moichin we said brain, not chokhmah. By midas we said midas, not lev.
Because midas already denote
Yeah.
a functional element.
Okay.
Like we always point out, that the human being stands on 2 feet. What's holding him up? What makes him stand on 2 feet? Totally unnatural for a physical entity. Because he's primarily moichin. He's suspended in mid-air. He's not gashmi. He also represents this in gashmis. To represent the Inyan HaMoichin in gashmis, you stand on 2 feet. But it's only a representation. But what is his essence? The essence is the moichin, is the ruchnis, the nefesh. So, even as a person just plain stands, you see that this is a living human being. He doesn't do anything. This is what I'm telling. Okay, let us try to go further. I said we went quite far last night. If anybody has a chance to review last night's class. The line begins Hazulas. It's about 9 lines from the top. 10 lines from the top. Kol Dalet. V'chein b'chol parts of hagimul rishonos shaboi, not only chokhmah, but the entire partsuf, the entire structure of the gimul rishonos, of the top 3 qualities that are in the person. Gimul rishonos, this is chokhmah, bina, and das. Zehu bechinas atzmusoi. Zehu bechinas atzmusoi. This is the bechina of his essence. This is what a person, what a human being is. Not how he functions, but what he is. Although, in fact, this is only a partsuf. This is only the form of the human being. מה ששייך למדרגה שלמטה הוא הזין תחתינס. And then what pertains to madrega shelamato, to madregas below his essence, this is zayin tachtenet. It is 7 lower qualities which is the midas, starting from chesed and gvura and tiferet, the 7 lower midas. This pertains to that which is below, but atzmusoi, his essence, and as we point out, the essence of the human being is that he is an essence, that he has an essential presence, not that he is a functional presence, that he relates to world. And therefore, hatoira shehi bechinas chochma yilod atzilus, the Torah, which is, as we said before, this is the bechinas chochma yilod atzilus, the chochma of atzilus, arei zeh bechinas atzmus atzilus. Therefore, this is the bechina of atzmus atzilus. This is the etzem of atzilus, not the functional aspect of atzilus. This is the essential element of atzilus. Lihiyois, being that the yiker atzmus ho atzilus hein hamoichi, that the principle etzem of atzilus, this is the moichi. This is the principle etzem of atzilus. What is atzilus? Okay, this is already at a higher level, but nevertheless, we should be able to relate to it after having discussed the human being. Atzilus. The word atzilus has multiple connotations. The most commonly used representation of what atzilus is, one is atzilus, that it is eitzel, it is close to the source, close to the etzel. And the other is atzilus, that it is an emanation rather than a creation. By yotza means something that emanates from, but what is the process of emanation rather than creation? Creation means that there's a separate step to create, and it's being created in an arena that is separate from the source, from the creator. being created. That's what bara. Atzilus means that there is a presence of the essence, and then there is something that emanates from the essence. This emanation from the essence is fully representative of the source of the essence from which it emanates. This is why it emanates. Emanates because the essence is present, and therefore it emanates.
More than a aura.
More than
An aura.
right. Ha'ora has a functional intonation. This is like an emanation from the etzem, representing the truth of the etzem. This is Atzilus. So Atzilus has, so to speak, a dual, almost a contradictory presence, just like a human being. Now I'm going to go back to the human being. For us, this is more important even to understand the Atzilus. The human being is also in a body. But the body is only for functional purposes. It is not representative of what the human being is. In order to have that element in Gashmius, he has a body. But not that the body represents what the human being is. He is Neshama. Neshama means that which is an essential truth, like we discussed yesterday at great length. An essential truth means that it's essence. It's not, a body has to be fed all the time. And Neshama doesn't need to be fed. Neshama is a godly reality, a godly presence. That's what the human being is, essentially. Moichin have that dual presence. On the one hand, it is a moyach. Moyach means that there is a receptacle, there's a cave. On the other hand, this receptacle is totally united with the oil that's in it. And it does not have a presence on its own at all. It is exclusively sensitive to the nefesh that's in it, to the nefesh element. Again, once we get to a certain point, it behooves us to go into the next step. Midos have to be aroused. In order to become aware of midos, he has to be aroused. Chesed, Gvura, whatever it is. Moichin, the awareness of Moichin element, doesn't need to be aroused. This is the essential awareness that a person has. All the time. This is the reality. This is the fundamental dispute that we have with the worldly view of what a human being is. The worldly view is that the human being is only a reaction to external effects. That's not the way we see human being at all. It's an essential presence. This is why we said many times, and we'll say it again, that when the world was created prior to the human being coming to the world, there was no significance of the world whatsoever. It was only worldly. There was nothing godly, nothing real. When the human being was put into the world, then all of a sudden the world came to life. Now there's a reality. What's meant a reality? Something that is real, not by reaction, but by a presence. This is the Imyahana Moichin. And this is why Moichin. Okay, so Atzilus is principally the Imyahana Moichin. In other words, how is the Moyach sense the neshama in contrast to every other part of the person? Let's say when you touch an object. You touch an object and the object affects you. It's either pleasant or unpleasant. So that's how you feel. It's something which is reflected in your personal experience. Moichin is the pure sensitivity to nefesh, to life itself. It is sensitive to nefesh because the nefesh is there, not because there is some kind of an effect of a reactionary, of a response to some stimulus. That's what moichin is. That's why it's called Atzilus. It is totally close to its source. It is totally representative of the reality of the nefesh itself. It is not a bodily reaction to nefesh. It is nefesh on the bodily level. So the principle of Atzilus, and this is why the Torah, which is drawn from Chochmah, it is Atzmus or Atzilus. Our Torah is called Tzelem, because it is the form. It's a form, but it's the form of the Yetzim, of what the Yetzim Atzilus is. Since the time is up, so let me just take it one step further. Bereishis bara Elokim es hashamayim v'ha'aretz. That's the beginning of the Torah. How do you know that? What's the proof of that? Later on, it says, if you do not, if you will not, then the Choraf Hashem, and then there will be no rain. So at least there is some kind of a reality. So you see that it's coming from someplace. But the first beginning is that what it seems to be a beginning in a without a basis. The answer is this is the basis. This is the reality that Moyach knows. This is not due to some kind of prior experience. This is the reality. And the Rambam says that the very foundation of the human reality is the knowledge that there is a first being. Where does he get that knowledge from? This is what a human being is.
That he is Eitzim.
What?
That the human being is Eitzim.
Yes, that there is a first being, that he is aware that is a first being.
This nature of Eitzim allows him that becomes part of his reality. That is his reality.
This is what, this is his reality. Even though he is in Gashmius, and Gashmius needs to be created, he doesn't sense it. because he senses the very presence of the nefesh itself in the Gashmias, not as a separate thing. The heart senses the Nihamidas by personal effect, becoming excited, heated up, cold, hot. Some kind of an effect on the Gashmias. Moichin do not have any of that effect. They are simply sensitive to the life element of the nefesh. This was Chochmah. This is why Chochmah. This is the presentation of the Etzem. This is the Etzem. Atzmas Odom. Atzmas Odom is a nefesh, not good. This is it for this morning.
Ja, Tzvi Seawald is sponsoring the Verbringen at Beis Levi Yitzchak. And he intends to have extra for the participants.
All right. So, Mitchum tonight we have a sikha. Hope we can make it a sikha.
And